what's going on. Subscribe to the channel if you're not. And we're going to talk about, can the mind be quiet? Most people their whole life their mind just goes on and it never stops. And to some degree you have to work towards making your mind quiet, stilling it. But the answer is yes, you can. First, to know that the mind can be quiet. That's a really good start. Because otherwise, if it happens, you're not going to make recollection of it. You're not going to be awake to it, aware of it. Or you're just not going to notice it. And it happens to everybody all the time, but more so in split seconds or very short-lived moments. And it's hard to say when it happens to people, but it does happen. They just don't catch it, basically. And then hence they don't believe it. But it can definitely happen. In fact, it's very true. And even in fact, it feels godly, blissful, out of this world. Because most people's minds just blabber on all day, blabber on. And it's usually negative stuff and self-talk. And it doesn't matter what it's about. For most people, it's usually daunting and it haunts them. And then this is where a lot of people's trauma comes in and the past. And this is why they want to be more like a child again. Because when you're a child, you don't remember your past. And when I say past, I talk about past life. And even so in this life, you haven't created that much of a past. More so, your essence is there. So you're there in the moment. The body can wear down and you can lower this energy. So, for example, when you're a kid, they're more just in the moment, but everyone tells, parents tell their kid, don't do that, don't shout in the store, don't do that, don't do this. And then the kid develops subconsciously, but then, it really gets beat into them consciously. And then they're just not themselves anymore. Also, there's a lot of things, but that can drain that energy, or you can lift that energy, basically. Ultimately, it's neutral. But that's why some people are going to have... It's always there, though. So some people, if they want to increase it, which is attention and concentration, you can do things to increase that. So yes, the mind can be quiet. It is very true. Most people don't even notice. That's the thing. So it may happen to them pieces by pieces, but they're so stuck in their thoughts. Some people even love it, and even though it's not even good for them, or they don't know they love it, or they talk to their own thoughts inside their head. Oh, you shouldn't do that. Well, why shouldn't I do that? Well, what are you saying? Just basically arguing with themselves or creating a whole conversation within their mind, but it's just them. Most people aren't possessed, though that's a whole nother topic, but only a few people are possessed. So the first thing is becoming aware of it, because then you won't feed into the talk anymore, basically. And once you don't feed into that anymore, then that time span will increase. The time span of what? Of you not having a thought. Some people think you only can have thoughts, and there's no such thing as not having thoughts. But that's fine. Basically everybody's on their way into enlightenment, whether they like it or not, because that's our ultimate reality. So whether you make an effort to go there or not, you're still gonna end up going there. Because this is one of the whole points of life, is, if not the main point, is to realize this. And this is how suffering, when you hear about suffering and just pain, not necessarily physical pain, but more so emotional pain, these people get addicted to it. And when I was talking about like trauma and stuff that happened to the past, people repeat the same thing. Oh, I got abused when I was younger. I got abused. It keeps playing in their head, but they don't realize they're making themselves suffer, because it's not happening. Most of the time, it's not happening in the moment anymore, and it's not there anymore. And this is how you overcome suffering, and this is why they call it enlightenment, or such a case, nirvana. Bunch of other words for it, but that's just the basis of it. Christ consciousness, Jesus Christ. It doesn't even matter if Jesus Christ was a real person, because this is exactly what he was talking about. In fact, even if he wasn't a real person, he is embodied into this. And so people let these traumas that happen way, way back in their life, some of them let it go let it just hold on to them their whole life. And it's just like, no, just let it go. They're creating resistance, and they keep filtering it through their mind again. It's not even necessarily about controlling the mind. It's more so about letting go, because it will just go by itself when there's no resistance. And then it won't even show up anymore. And that's the basis of it. So suffering comes from being, and your thought becomes almost something that you hold. It becomes almost something that you hold, an energetic state, a metaphysical state. And it does probably weigh something, but it weighs so minuscule that it doesn't actually weigh in measurements of the physical reality, but it is like a burden, basically. It's not something you can touch. See, and a lot of people let their thoughts get to them, but it's just that, a thought. I'm completely aware of all of my thoughts all the time. It doesn't matter what it is. But let's just say, like, people suffer because they're falling into, oh, I'm not good looking, I'm insecure, I'm not confident, I fear this. Just there's so many things, just whatever self-talk that goes on your mind, because ultimately it doesn't matter, but your mind, and ego is another word for it, always likes to problem solve, because that's the whole point of it, is the problem solve. And it likes to create a problem that you are not aware about, create a problem, and it doesn't even want to reach an answer, because it wants to be active. It wants to be activated. It doesn't even like hearing about this necessarily, but it already rings true because it is. So once your mind loves that, it's like an attraction. It's like an amusement park. It's like a hot girl or a boyfriend you really like. It really wants it. It has the hot for it. But as soon as you let it go and don't feed into it, it just dies, and it's not there anymore. It's actually gone. And then you feel this overwhelming presence that's just there, and it feels really good. It's the ultimate feeling, basically. Yeah, so that's all I have. Have a nice day. If you like this video, subscribe. If you have a comment, you can, a certain topic of a video, you can leave it down below, or you can send me an email, make a video about it, or we could talk there. Have a nice day.